ring that runs around your head to form a level of Ederson! Breathe with me, guys. Big 100 million contract winning smiles.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसे हैं आप सब। उम्मीद करती हूँ आप सब ठीक होंगे। आज मैं आपके साथ इतिहाद स्टेडियम का व्लॉग शेयर करने जा रही हूँ। ये स्टेडियम मैनचेस्टर में है और ये मैनचेस्टर सिटी क्लब का स्टेडियम है। आप ये व्लॉग पूरा ज़रूर देखिएगा। मिलते हैं अब आपको इतिहाद स्टेडियम में। ये गाइस हम आ गए हैं गाड़ी पार्क करके और अब हम बस अंदर जा रहे हैं इतिहाद स्टेडियम के अंदर। रोड क्रॉस करके हमें जाना पड़ेगा। आज वेदर भी बड़ा थोड़ा सा रेनिंग हो रही है, वेट है। एंट्रेंस है। इधर से एंट्रेंस है और ये चेकिंग कर रहे हैं बैग वगैरह, सिक्योरिटी चेकिंग जो होती है। ये अंदर हम आ गए हैं, ये हॉल है बाहर। एंटर हो ही तो सिक्योरिटी चेक होती है, तो ये हॉल सा बना हुआ है और ये साथ में स्नैक्स बार है। यहाँ से सिक्योरिटी चेक करके हम अंदर आए और सीधा गए हैं और फिर अंदर हॉल में अब आए हैं। नहीं, इधर से क्यू लगना है और अंदर अब टाइम हो गया है 2 बजे, हमने टूर करना है, तो ये यहाँ पे क्यू लगेगा और फिर हम अंदर जाएंगे और स्टेडियम का टूर करेंगे इंशाल्लाह। इधर से ये बैज वगैरह दे रही है लेडी, ये वाली सबको बैज एक एक देगी, तो फिर हमने बैज पहन के जाने हैं। हमें उन्होंने लैंड जॉब दिया है पहनने के लिए।
At the very core of a city that's proud, a city that's loud, a city that's always stood out from the crowd, a club for all of Manchester. Way back, a vicar and his daughter, already supporters of a broken community, created opportunity, gave them hope and gave them heart, and built a team to bring their people together. That spirit stayed with every game played, the bond grew. It was built into being sky blue. The first trophy bridged the gap, put this city right on the map, to set the ball rolling for all. And what a ride it has been, what wonders we've seen, the crowds that flocked, the results that shocked, the rages and rants, the songs and the chants, the joy and relief, mixed with sheer disbelief. We've seen powerful patricians, mavericks, magicians, fleet-footed flyers down the wings, the absurd, the outrageous, the brave, the courageous, and the privileged few saw the king. It's our 1894. We thank everyone who has gone before, for this team that now soars, for this club that now towers, for this city we know that will always be ours.
Okay guys, if you'd like to follow me, stop there, sir. So guys, welcome to the Etihad, home of the champions Manchester City. 4 Premier Leagues in a row, soon to be 5. Hopefully it's never been done to have 4 in a row, obviously. Can I get a cheer? Yeah. Thank you guys. Okay, so my name is Sorrel and I will be your tour guide today. We're joined by Paul, give Paul a wave. And we will be guiding you around the Etihad today, which is really exciting. So, before we begin, have you got any Manchester City fans with me? Put your hands up if you're a City fan. God, I'm worried now. Anyone brave enough to tell me what club they support? Liverpool? Yeah. Arsenal. Good luck.
City.
Over at the store, you'll
No,
see a
United.
trophy, okay? So that'll be good for you.
We won more than City though.
Pardon?
We won more than City.
No, you haven't won the Premier League since us.
How much have you?
We've won 8 in a long time, so soon come potentially. We'll see. Yeah, not proud of it, but I do that. Any other clubs? Ajax. Ajax? Nice.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's alright. Any other clubs for you guys? MK Dons to play Chelsea, or again, inspirations. No, everyone's welcome here. We all love football. That's the main thing, okay, guys? So, like I say, you're in the Etihad, home of Manchester City, and you are currently sat in the South Stand. Now, this football stadium did not start life as a football stadium. Does anyone know what it was before we took it over?
Commonwealth.
Exactly that. It was constructed for the 2002 Commonwealth Games, and it was a 38,000 seater capacity athletic stadium. The black ring that runs around your head is a former level of the athletics track that runs around the stadium. And we are currently sat below ground. This is the only below ground pitch in the Premier League. There's also a below ground pitch at Sunderland, but they're not in the Premier League. So all we did was we dug down 6 metres, got all the rubble, and we dumped it on Old Trafford, of course. Didn't really. Got rid of the rubble, and we actually expanded the seats by 10,000, bringing us to 48,000. Since then, we expanded to 55,000 seats, but we've removed 1,000 seats to add the double advertisement boardings that run around the pitch. So we're at a 54,000 capacity stadium currently. These railings in front and behind you are our safe standing seats. So that we have 5,600 of these, and these were installed in 2022 as a pilot scheme to enable our fans to stand safely at games. It's been banned for approximately 30 years to stand at Premier League games since disasters such as Hillsborough. So this avoids a crowd collapse. To my left, you'll notice some great railings. This marks our away fan zone. We have 3,000 away seats across the 3 tiers, 1, 2 and 3. However, we've sandwiched these fans between our loudest, rowdiest fans to try and drown out their noise and give ourselves a home advantage. Just above that area is a black box with a window. This is our media box. So this is where national broadcasters such as TNT, Sky, BBC, ITV, who seat their pundits on a match day. So you might have the likes of Gary Neville up there, not a fan of him, former Manchester United defender, talks a lot of waffle. You might have the likes of Michael Richards up there as well, former Manchester City defender. You might hear his laugh blasting out through the stadium. They'll be seated up there on a match day doing their punditry. To the left of that box are our corporate boxes. We have 54 corporate boxes running around the Etihad. These are rented for the players so their friends and family can attend home match days. So before I move on, does anyone want to shout out their favourite Manchester City players to me?
Haaland.
Haaland, good choice. Pardon? De Bruyne? Erling Haaaland as well, good choice. Aguero, obviously a legend here at City. Phil Foden, mine too. Pardon? None of them? Yeah, right. Premier League champions, you can't fault them, can you? Yeah? Haaland as well, very popular choice. Grealish, of course. De Bruyne, of course. One of the greatest midfielders we've had in the Premier League. Colin Bell, of course. And we'll be going to the Colin Bell stand later in the tour. So I'll point out some of their corporate boxes. In the very far corner beneath the Made in Manchester sign is Erling Haaland's corporate box. It's the largest box we have here at the Etihad, and it can cater for up to 20 people. So Alfie Haaland is Erling Haaland's father, played for us during the early 2000s. He was seated there last Saturday when we beat Ipswich 4-1, and his dad got to see him score yet another hat-trick. So he'll have his family and friends over from Norway in that box. Next door to Erling Haaland's box is Kevin De Bruyne's corporate box. Now you notice the Etihad Stadium sign. Above that is a box that's Jack Grealish's. Apparently it's a party box here at the Etihad. Now Phil Foden is a local lad from Stockport. It's around 10 minutes away from on the train via the centre of Manchester. So he has a lot of family and friends in the area. Therefore, he has 2 corporate boxes on either side of the stadium. In northwest corner, Rodri has his box, okay? In this corner, you'll notice a green and white Puma shoebox. It's not really a shoebox, it's our sensory box. So So we're really proud at Manchester City to offer an inclusive matchday experience for individuals facing sensory issues such as ADHD and autism. So they'll be escorted here by our mascots on a match day into a dimly lit, soundproof room. They'll work through various layers of that box over multiple match days, getting more familiar with the Etihad before they can come and join us on the seats just outside and to the left. So we're really proud to have that here. In the two corners are two black screens, two of the largest in the Premier League at 16 metres or 54 feet in length. These show things like the scoreboard, the time and goal replays on a home match day. But behind me, what I'm having to shout over 5 days a week, is one of the most exciting things happening at the Etihad at the moment. You would have seen it if you came in on the tram today. It's our North Stand development. This is a £300 million investment to bring our capacity from 54,000 to 61,000. Now, does anyone know what having a capacity of 60,000 will enable this stadium to do? Exactly, but which one, my friend? What's the other one that we really want to win again? Yes, exactly. So UEFA stipulate that 60,000 is the minimum capacity needed to host the UEFA Champions League final. So not only want to win it again, don't we?
Yeah.
We want to win, exactly. No. We want to win it here on home soil. To your point, sir, in 2028, the UK and Ireland are hosting the Euros tournament. So we've just seen the Euros over in Germany. Commiserations to England, very upset about that. But hopefully in 2028 we'll be able to win it. The Etihad has been selected as Manchester's host stadium for some of those games. So hopefully we can see England get quite far on this pitch. And this means we'll be able to get 7,000 additional international fans. So, we're building a 400-bed hotel which will make it the largest in Manchester, a fan park that can cater for up to 3,000 fans. Luckily it will be covered as well, so we can avoid the trademark rain that we get here in Manchester. We'll have hospitality like bars, restaurants, cafes, you name it, will be over there to be enjoyed on a match day. We're also building, they have built one in their state-of-the-art facility. We're building one over the North Stand. I won't be doing it, I'm incredibly afraid of heights, but you guys will be welcome to enjoy that from autumn 2026 when the whole North Stand will be finished, and we're ahead of schedule for that, so that's great. Now I mentioned the corporate boxes. Over in that corner, beneath the Hello Hello sign, is Pep Guardiola's corporate box. Now, if you've been with us at the Etihad before, or if you've seen us on TV, you'll notice that crazy man running up the touchline, pointing and blowing kisses. It's not necessarily with our fans, it's up towards his family and friends that are seated in that box on a match day. Now, just to the right of the Hello Hello sign, and actually it's easier to see up here, to the right of the reddish blue sign, are our hawk-eye cameras. So this is the goal line technology that alerts the referee to whether a goal has gone in or not. Now inside the football, there's a small chip. Once that chip passes the white line, it indicates on the referee's watch to let him know that a goal has gone in. You may remember back in 2019, we were playing against Liverpool. John Stones cleared the ball off the line against Mohamed Salah by 0.13 millimetres. These fine margins that win us Premier Leagues because we did win the Premier League that season. So these are really important to us here. Up in that area, in the central area, is our TV gantry. This is where some of our cameras and the commentators will be seated on a match day. It's commentary you'll hear on the TV. The most famous piece of Premier League commentary happened up there. Does anyone know what it is? Do you want to reenact it for me? No? Is that right? Happened right up there back in 2012 when we beat QPR to win our first top division title in 44 years. An incredible moment. Below that is the director's box and a chairman's club. It's the largest in the Premier League with 480 seats. Now it's the largest because during the Commonwealth Games, royalty such as the late Queen Elizabeth, the politicians, dignitaries from around the world were seated there to watch the athletics. And just below that is where we're heading next, Tunnel Club Ground seats and Tunnel Club Premier seats. These are part of the hospitality packages we offer at the Etihad. They are heated seats, they come equipped with USB chargers and they're just behind the dugouts. So everyone seated there will be able to see the substitutes and the coaches on a... Yeah.
The capacity being the stand gone bigger, more forward at the build.
That was back in 2003, we brought the seats closer, so we built 10,000 seats. More, basically, to bring us to 48,000. Since then, we built more seats, particularly in the North Stand, to bring us to 54,000. We were at 55, but we took 1,000 seats out for the double advertisement boardings, which you'll be able to see at games or on the TV. Any other questions? All good? We're going to head round to Tunnel Club ground, so feel free to follow me up the stairs and remember...
अब स्टेडियम का हमने अंदर से आपने देखा हुआ ग्राउंड का टूर किया है और अब हम और एक्सप्लोर करने लगे हैं दूसरी जगह पे और अब हम क्यू में खड़े हैं ये देखो
Here at the Etihad. People will come in here around 3 hours before the game. They'll get some drinks, inclusive in their ticket of course, and some light food, tapas, flying food like mini hot dogs and things like that. There are 11 courses served in here. Does anyone know why it's 11?
One for each player.
Exactly, yeah. So one for each player. 2 floors down is Tunnel Club Premier. That's more of a fine dining experience. You wouldn't turn up in your jersey, you'd probably turn up with a suit and tie, a nice dress, a nice pair of trousers, things like that. Now, down there is a 5-course champagne meal, and why I like it in there is actually there's a 2-way mirror between Tunnel Club Premier and the tunnel itself. So everyone seated in that hospitality area will be able to watch the players walking out onto the pitch, which is really exciting. They'll also be able to see the players do some of their post-match interviews because there's a 2-way mirror between the mixed media zone and that hospitality area. So they'll see the players leave, both the away and the home team, and do some of their post-match interviews with the journalists. We'll be heading to the mixed media zone later on in the tour. Now I like to describe the Etihad as our matchday arena. It's our matchday stadium. But the majority of the work happens over at the CFA, the City Football Academy, which is half a mile in that direction. Over there you've got the first team building, the Academy Centre, 16.5 pitches, and you've also got the Women's Stadium, the only women's stadium in the WSL as well. It's very unique to have all of those facilities in one campus, and this is known obviously as the Etihad campus. Now the players can head over there in their lovely, shiny, bright cars on a match day, park them over at the CFA, and have some of their pre-match meals. It could be 1 to 2 meals depending on the time of the kick-off, but Pep is a big believer that the players should all eat together, because it's a bonding experience. They'll eat together, do their final preparations and get on the coach, and they'll head over the half-mile journey and park right out on our crest just outside these doors. They'll be greeted by about 1,000 to 2,000 City fans, all cheering them, getting them pumped and ready to come into here. Now, I was out there last Saturday when we beat Ipswich 4-1. It was great atmosphere. I'm too short to have seen the players, unfortunately, but I did see the coach arrive. There was entertainment out there as well. So we had Brazilian samba entertainment last week. And the reason we had that is because one of our most recent signings is Savinho, and we just signed him. He's from Girona and he's Brazilian. So I'm sure him and Edison really enjoyed that when they got off the coach. Now the team will head down through these doors and along a carpet that we've rolled out for them. Does anyone know the colour of that carpet? See you later. Lovely to see you guys. No, I'm joking. Right, no, it's not red, because we try and keep red to a minimum. As you all know, over at the Swamp at Old Trafford, they are red. We try and keep red to a minimum as a result. So, we typically keep things to a sky blue, a navy blue, a black and a white. The 3 things that we do have red in this stadium though. 1, fire extinguishers, because
they are a legal requirement. Number 2, red wine, and Pep will often take a bottle of red wine down to the matchday manager's office downstairs and have a glass or two with the away team manager to do a debrief after the game, as long as they haven't fallen out on the touchline. The third is tomato ketchup. We trialled blue ketchup, didn't go down very well, okay? Now, on the latest iteration of our badge, we also have the Red Rose of Lancashire. Now, Manchester was formerly part of the county of Lancashire, now obviously part of Greater Manchester, but just a bit of our history of the badge. I will get someone clever enough to notice the red above the Asahi as well, so it's one of our sponsors. So that's the 5th red item that we have in the stadium. So like I say, we keep it to typically blues, blacks, white. So, what colour is the carpet, guys? Blue. Thank you, yes. So it's a sky blue we roll out for. The players will walk down here, and everyone in Tunnel Club ground will be cheering, maybe getting a bit loud after a few too many beers, but all the kids will be lined up and high-fiving the players. Now Pep will be the first off the coach and walk down here, nearly fell down the stairs, and the person stood here is the only person he will high-five. So if you were ever in Tunnel Club ground and you want to high-five the gaffer, make sure you stood nearest to the stairs, okay? Now, do you think we give the away team the same treatment on a match day?
No.
Absolutely not. So behind that hedge is a service tunnel. The away team coach will obviously make their journey, drive down the service tunnel, and no word of a lie, park directly beside our bins. Not a great way to enter the Etihad. They will then be picked up by our security and guided down a number of corridors that wind around our kitchens. Now this is significant because Premier League players do not eat 3 to 4 hours before a Premier League game. So the idea is to get them thinking more about their stomachs than the fact they have to mark Erling Haaaland in the next 90 minutes, which is quite good and it's probably working given he's already got 2 hat-tricks this season. So the away team will head down there into the away team dressing room below us. Now the away team dressing room and the home team dressing room look very different because they're different shapes, but they're both 5-star standard dressing rooms. Does anyone know what makes a dressing room a 5-star standard? What type of facility we can provide? Yes, exactly. You're the first one on my tour that's got that correct. Showers. So we provide them a very good shower facility, which makes it 5-star standard. We only have to provide them with 1 physio bed, we provide them with 6, and rather than putting them in the away team dressing room, we provide them a completely different room. The away team dressing room in terms of space is the same in square meterage to the home team dressing room. However, there are a few design features we've been able to tweak to make it a little bit more uncomfortable for them. When we head to the home team dressing room, you'll notice all the seats are padded, and it looks very bright and very airy in there. It's a lot of room to feel like one big unit, one big team. In that room, they don't have any padding on the seats, and it's painted a battleship grey. Now, battleship grey dulls the mood. So it doesn't make you sad, but it basically calms the nervous system. So rather than hyping them up like we do in Tunnel Club ground, we calm down the away team. Again, another design feature that we can exploit to give ourselves a home advantage. Now, to draw your attention to a few things in this room, does anyone know what this line symbolises? Bearing in mind where we are in the stadium. Exactly. Which is where the ball was kicked off last Saturday for our first home game of the season where we beat Ipswich Town 4-1. I'm going to mention that a few times, so I'm very excited about it. And you currently sat in the only stand named after a former player, Colin Bell. He's probably the most legendary player we've had at Manchester City, played for us during the 1960s and 70s, and he was known as the king of the kip-axe over at Main Road. He is commemorated by one of those statues out there, that's the Lee Bell Summerby trio. So you have Francis Lee as well and Mike Summerby up there, legendary trio that played at Manchester City. Colin Bell is most famously compared to a Kevin De Bruyne and a Phil Foden hybrid, and even then he probably doesn't live up to those 2 players. He was definitely ahead of his time. 3 more modern players that you would definitely have heard of ran towards East Reception, and those statues were installed in recent years. The first, our leading goal scorer, Sergio Aguero. I don't have to talk too much about what Sergio has done for this club. Number 2, Vincent Kompany, our former captain, my favourite captain that has ever captained this club. And then 3, El Mago, or the magician in Spanish, David Silva. Now David Silva and Phil Foden were seated next to each other in the home team dressing room. You will see a lot of similarities between the way they both play, because David mentored Phil. And if you ever hear Phil speak about his favourite all-time player, all-time footballer, it is David Silva. I don't blame him. So before we move downstairs, can I get all of the adults in 2 parallel lines on either side of this gold line, and all of my City players that I can see up here with me. So 2 parallel lines, please. Here first, sir. Lovely t-shirt. So we're going to give our City players the atmosphere that they deserve on a match day, okay? So we're going to give them a big cheer as they head down. So before we do, who's your favourite player? Haaland? Phil Foden?
Edison.
Shall I come back to you? I'll come back to you in a minute. Who's your favourite player? Right, let's sit you down. Ready? So, guys, give it up all the way from Norway, Erling Haaaland! Next up, from Spain, Rodri! And it's the Stockport Iniesta, Phil Foden! He's our goalkeeper, all the way from Brazil, Diaz. Here he comes from Portugal, Ruben Diaz! Here he comes from Belgium, Kevin De Bruyne! Again, the Stockport Iniesta, Phil Foden! And from Norway, Erling Haaland! Our leading goal scorer, Sergio Aguero! And here he comes. So he's not a Man City player, but he's coming anyway. Garnacho! Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. You'll get to sit in your favourite place seat in a moment. We'll go to the dressing room, okay? So smiling, you're feeling good, you're feeling cheerful. That's what our home team get to feel on a match day. The away team don't get the same privilege. There's very few players with fans for a game. Because we know it hypes up our home team. So, where are we coming from? We're going to head to the home team dressing room, guys. Please remember your belongings and follow me downstairs. As I mentioned upstairs, this is shaped very differently to the away team dressing room. So the away team dressing room is a rectangle, this is circular. Does anyone know why it's circular? Exactly, yes. Very good answer. So, back in 2016, Pep Guardiola left Bayern Munich and he went on a break to the US. Whilst he was there, he went to a lot of NFL stadiums. They also have a circular dressing room. Pep really liked that everyone can see each other in this room and everyone can hear each other. So we come 1-0 down at half-time. Doesn't happen very often anymore. But Pep can stand in the middle of our badge, look every player in the eye, and they all have to look at him back and take accountability. Even down to the cupboards behind you, they will open, which creates a divide, but then they slot backwards, creating this cohesive team environment in here. Now, one language is spoken in this room. Does anyone know what that is? English. Yes, exactly. So, you'll notice we have players from all over the world: Brazilian, German, English, Croatian, Spanish, Portuguese, Norwegian, Swiss, Dutch, Belgian, Birmingham. But the only language spoken in here is English. Number one, we're in the English Premier League, so it makes sense to do that. But number two, Pep does not want a group of Spanish speakers, a group of German speakers, all speaking in their own tongue, because it creates division. So he wants to create an equal environment, which means standardising the language to English. So on a match day, the players will come in and they'll get a kit bundle. They get 2 shirts. These are not to be reused or reworn on another match day. They're for the players to keep. And they'll typically do one of 3 things with these shirts. Number 1, they will sign them and donate them to charity. Number 2, they'll chuck them into the crowds, to the fans. So you might see someone, Jack Grealish on one of the shirts, sign up at the game. He'll go and chuck it into the crowd after a match. Or they may keep their shirts to mark an achievement. So Sergio Aguero, as I've mentioned, our leading goal scorer, he kept every single shirt that he ever scored in. So as you can imagine, a lot of shirts up in his attic. Now what else do they get? They get Under Armour, training top, shorts, socks, shin pads, sliders and boots that go in those cubby holes beneath your feet. The keepers will also get gloves and towel as well. Now does anyone know the only fully customisable part of a football kit?
The number.
Not technically. Yes. This is the only part of the football kit that's completely hidden beneath the socks. So, if I could direct your attention to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva is from Portugal. He has the Portuguese flag on each shin pad. Phil Foden has an image of himself with his son, Ronnie Foden, on his shoulders. Now, Ronnie is named after Phil Foden's late grandfather, who died at the age of 47, hence the shirt number. You'll notice that Phil Foden also has a tattoo on his neck, the number 47. That's the age at which his grandfather passed away. His grandfather was a very poignant part of his life. He taught him how to fish when he was a kid, went on a lot of fishing trips. If you know anything about Phil, he likes to fish in his spare time. So he has Ronnie on his shin pads. Edison has an image of himself with his family. But the 2 of my favourites in this room, Carl Walker. So Carl Walker turned 34 back in May. He's had the same shin pads for 20 years, since he was 14 years old. When he was 14, he lost his original pair of shin pads, and he begged his mum for a new pair. She said, no, you'll lose them again. He promised he wouldn't, and he hasn't, because he's had the same ones for 20 years. In front of me is Jack Grealish. If you've seen Jack Grealish here at the Etihad, at Wembley, on the TV, you'll notice he has huge calves, but wears tiny shin pads. No bigger than the size of a referee's yellow card. So this was left at the end of the West Ham game, at the end of last season. This is one of Jack Grealish's makeshift shin pads. Does anyone know what this is made out of? Pardon? No, it's bendy, super bendy. What would I use it for? Makeup sponge that's been wrapped in bandage. Very random. So we've kindly labelled it JG10, his initials and his shirt number, and then we've labelled it L so he knows his left from his right as well. So I don't know how much protection that's offering, probably not a lot. So to direct you to a few other features of this room. Through those double doors are 2 plunge pools, showers and hair dryers. One plunge pool is set at 14 degrees Celsius. It's a cold plunge pool, so it speeds up recovery from bruises, cuts, inflammation after a football match. The other is set at 26 degrees Celsius. It's a hot jacuzzi pool, so it gets the blood flowing and again speeds up recovery. The players are encouraged to use them. They don't have to, but they often will. This board is the tactician's board. You may have seen this on our Netflix documentary, YouTube content, Instagram content. Pep likes to use this to illustrate a tactical change at half time with magnets. He'll also write the starting 11 on this board. He doesn't tend to use the projector, but he will use this. Does anyone know what this light indicates? Any ideas? Yes, exactly. Very good. You've been very good today. So basically it indicates for everyone in this room to make their way to the tunnel. And does anyone know why it's a light rather than a sound? Very, very good comment. So basically, you want the players to stay focused before a game. They'll have their noise-cancelling headphones on, maybe they'll be listening to music. I know Kevin De Bruyne likes to play a lot of mobile games before a match as well. So they may not be, be able to hear anything, so they'll be focused and be in the game. But they will be able to see a light. And by seeing it, they'll know to go down towards the tunnel. And finally, to draw your attention to this quote. Now this is a quote from a poem called This Is the Place by Tony Walsh, written in 2013. And it's about the people of Manchester, Manchester's industrial history, its brilliant music scene and its footballing identity. This is a very poignant poem to Manchester, the people of Manchester, because it was performed in 2017, the day after the Manchester Arena bombings, by Tony Walsh himself on the town hall steps in the centre of the city. Now, Pep Guardiola's wife and daughter were present at the arena that night, but they left early, so very poignant poem to Pep. The full poem, available online if you want to read it, it's also in our away team warm-up area. This particular line, though, has been taken and is very reminiscent of this team. So some born here. So we've got Phil Foden, Rico Lewis, two academy graduates that have now made their way to the first team. Phil Foden is 24 years old. He's already won 6 Premier League titles, as well as all of the other the Premier League and individual awards that he has won. So an amazing achievement. Some drawn here, we've got all of our international players, including Pep, who is Catalonian or Spanish, but we all call it home. So through the design features and the environment that Pep has created, he's created a home away from home for these players, and by doing so, I think it's contributed to the success that we have experienced in recent years, okay? So without further ado, we're going to make our way to the tunnel now. If you'd like to follow me, please remember all of your belongings.
हमने अब ड्रेसिंग रूम का टूर कर लिया है और अब हम टनल की तरफ शायद जा रहे हैं.
30 of us in this space. I think that's the starting 11 will get before heading down to the tunnel. Plenty of room for like one big unit, one big team. This is the only space that the away team will get, so approximately 2.5 metres squared. Half of their team will still be in the away team dressing room, half of them will be cramped right beside our brilliant badge lit up with LED blue lights. Not a great way to enter the Etihad before they head down to the game. Just behind you is my favourite picture at the Etihad. It's of us winning the Champions League back in 2023. Now you'll notice, or recognise I should say, a lot of the players on there. So you've got Rodri, the scorer of the winning goal. At the back to the far right is Gundogan, who just returned last Saturday from Barcelona. He is obviously our treble-winning captain. We're very happy to have him back. You've got Guardiola himself, of course. But there'll be a few faces on there that you may not recognise. This is because this is an image of the entire first team backroom staff. You've got the likes of the nutritionists, the kitmen, the physios. Pep is a big believer that it takes the entire team, not just the players, but everyone behind the scenes to win a trophy of this magnitude. So this used to be an image of Ilkay Gundogan celebrating the winning goal back in 2022 when we beat Aston Villa in that crazy comeback. So we actually came back from 2-0 down to win the Premier League against Liverpool that season. But it's since been replaced with this because obviously we hadn't won a Champions League before, so we're really proud of that. Now guys, before we head down to pitch side, 2 things to bring your attention to. Number 1, please do not run on the grass. Number 2, please do not touch the grass. Because if you do, I'll have to work at Old Trafford and I don't want to. Okay? Brilliant. Feel free to follow me. Anyone who...
हम अभी पिच की साइड पे जा रहे हैं. ये एक फुटबॉल ग्राउंड है.
You have the physios, you have the paramedics, you have security. This is the away team dugout. So if you support another club, that's a good place to sit. The pitch itself, guys, 95% real grass, 5% nylon fibres. There are over 20 million nylon fibres that run around the pitch. It's a hybrid pitch because it strengthens the grass. So it means that it doesn't churn up as easily. You'll notice a slight tilt to the centre mark. This enables runoff of water because we get a lot of rain in Manchester. Any rain that does permeate through the pitch gets collected by a container and reused in our sprinkler system. We're creating more of a sustainable system here. So feel free to take loads of pictures here, guys, and I'll leave you to it.
ये देख सकते हैं गाइस, ये सारा फुटबॉल ग्राउंड है, ये पिच है.
post-match interviews. Each player is contractually obliged to answer at least one question. There'll be a big row of journalists lined up here after a game outside in the corridor. They could be waiting for about an hour for the players to arrive. The away team will exit first, answer a few questions, and then obviously our Manchester City players. Now, there are a few players who try to avoid the responsibility of asking questions. David Silva, when he was with us, he was quite shy, quite small. Conveniently, we'd get a phone call at the top of the corridor and walk down speaking to his mum in Spanish. The call would conveniently cut out at the end, okay? So Yaya Toure, when he was with us, very good friends with David Silva, who's a very tall guy. So David would put his hood up and hide behind Yaya until we reached the corridor at the bottom. And Yaya would then answer a few questions on their behalf. A few players that are comfortable answering questions now, the likes of Erling Haaaland and Jack Grealish, which you might have seen on the TV. And when here is where the managers will enter. So the away team manager will come in first, answer a few questions, and then afterwards Pep Guardiola himself will enter. Now the questions in here last between 3 to 5 minutes, not very long. They have to be about the game that's just happened. It can't be about a potential transfer. On the Champions League game, so last season when we played against Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League, it was around 200 people stood up in here, no room to move. So this desk is part of our history here at Manchester City. It's come with us all the way from Main Road. We played at Main Road for 80 years before 2003, and it's the former reception desk. Now I have a fellow tour guide who was a receptionist behind this desk. She's been with us for around 40 years, which is great. Behind that are some of our sponsors. You may not know this, but we don't own the Etihad. We rent it from the local council for approximately £7 million per year. On UEFA Champions League game, we hand the stadium over to UEFA. We cease to kind of work here anymore, and it becomes the City of Manchester Stadium, which is what it was known as before 2011, and it was renamed in 2011 after the Etihad, of course. Now these will be covered up on a UEFA Champions League game because they aren't UEFA accredited sponsors and replaced with UEFA accredited sponsors, okay? So, I'm quite well connected here at Manchester City. So I'm going to invite a very special guest to come and join us. So if you'd like to look up at your screens, guys, you'll see who it is. It's Pep! It's the gaffer. He has come to join us all the way from the CFA today, guys. So, if you took a photo with the Champions League, or if you have a pre-booked photo book, you would have got one of these at the start of your tour. If you would like a photo with Pep, please bring this card to me and line up along this area. If you don't have one of these and you want a photo with Pep, again, feel free to come to me, I could give you one. Please avoid this area and standing in this area during photos because you will end up on someone's mantelpiece. So if you want a photo with Pep, guys, feel free to come up here. Have you got a card? Smile. In 3, 2, 1. Big smile. Now look to the door for me, young man.
Look to me. And then you're looking at Pep, you see.
Brilliant, thank you so much, sir. Feel free to take a step off down that side of the stage.
Did you get your little card? Get a ticket with Get Rolling, please.
Yeah, of course you can, yeah, feel free to line up. I'll give you a card in a minute, no? You can take a picture of the screen. So feel free to look at the back screen for me, guys. Big 100 million contract winning smiles. Fantastic. Look to the door for me. Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much. Feel free to take a step.
टूर फिनिश हो गया है, अब हम जा
We are known as the best of the best on TripAdvisor at Manchester City Stadium tour, which we're really proud of. So if you did enjoy today's tour, it would be great to get a review. My name is Scorrel. Do not worry about spelling. And that is Paul at the back. If you didn't enjoy